Like many languages, English comes in many different flavors. So if your goal is to be able to speak English, you'll want to make pronunciation practice part of your study routine. And to do that, you'll need to pick your favorite flavor to focus on. Today, I want to help you choose which English accent is right for you. Have you seen Luca's recent video about some of the different French accents? For more videos like that one and this one, plus tons of language learning hacks and tips, subscribe to our channel. So, like I said, there are over 150 dialects of English, and it's spoken as a native language by people in about 20 countries. I'm going to focus on two standard dialects that are most often taught to people who are learning English as a foreign language: General American and Standard British, or received pronunciation. Now, this isn't to say that you shouldn't adopt an Australian or a South African or even an Indian English accent. The choice is yours. But my first recommendation is to choose one accent and commit to it. Many students develop a strange hybrid accent because they pronounce some words with the British pronunciation, but other words make them sound American. So choose an accent and try to get as much exposure to that variety of English as possible if you want to improve more quickly. Of course, if you've already developed a particular accent, it's better to just stick with it and keep practicing to make it as good as it can be. Don't forget that there's certain vocabulary that goes with each accent too. If you've committed to an American accent, but you keep calling underwear pants, people are going to be a little confused. So if you're on the fence between a British and an American accent, I'll explain some pros and cons of each to help you decide which one to learn. Probably the most obvious advantage to learning the American accent is that there's a lot more content available to help you practice it. Since the US produces so much music, television, film, radio, etc., it's easy to find and easy to immerse yourself in. I'm not saying there isn't great British content too, but you get to be a lot more selective about what you practice with if you go with the American accent. On a similar note, it's also easier to find an American English speaking conversation partner who shares your interests and can correct your pronunciation simply because of the size of the country. This also means that you're more likely to be understood by a larger number of native and non-native English speakers around the world. Although the US is huge, there are generally fewer regional pronunciation differences you'll need to worry about compared to the UK. With a few exceptions, most regional accents in the United States are quite similar. That is not the case for UK accents. There are tons of accents in the United Kingdom, and most of them are actually quite different from the BBC accent or received pronunciation. This is something to take into account because when you're choosing a UK English speaker to shadow or chat with, you'll need to be aware of which regional accent they have and be able to recognize the sounds that they might pronounce differently. Only a very small percentage of Brits, probably between 3 and 10%, actually speak with received pronunciation, whereas about 67% of Americans speak with a general American accent. There are also certain perceptions that come along with each of the English accents. For example, British English could make you sound fancy or posh. Depending on who you'll be speaking to, that could be a good or a bad thing. I personally think that Hugh Grant's British accent is dreamy, but foreigners who adopt an accent like that could come off as pretentious to some other people. One study found that some non-native speakers believe that British English sounds more professional than American English. Perceptions aside, we think that either accent is just fine as long as you speak it clearly and confidently. If you're European, British English might be what your teachers spoke at school, so you may have already learned some of the British English sounds. There are about 8 vowel sounds that are different in American and British English. And like I said before, if you've already learned one way of pronouncing something, it's probably easier to stick with it rather than learn something new. And probably the biggest advantage to learning a British accent is that you won't have to use the tricky R sound quite as often. American English is what we call a rhotic version, whereas the London accent accent is non-rhotic. This means that you only pronounce the R if it's followed by a vowel. So for example, in American English, you'd say hard, but in received pronunciation, you'd say hard. So at MosaLingua, we generally recommend that people learn the American accent because we think that the pros outweigh those of British English. To recap, there is more American English audio and video material to listen to and imitate. There are more people who speak a standard version of American English to practice with. There are fewer regional differences in American English than in British English. And certain characteristics of American English make it easier for non-natives to understand and pronounce. Like I said, choosing an accent is a personal preference, and you should learn whichever one feels right. But I hope this has helped you decide which accent is best for you. If you're interested in improving your English accent, your conversational skills, and your confidence, be sure to check out our masterclass. We put the link in the video description for you. Bye for now!
If you learned something new from this video, give it a thumbs up. Then, hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. Have a look around our channel for more hacks and tips. And if you're watching on another social media platform, like or follow our page. See you next time.